coming to you live from Angkasa with the latest news. I'm Brennan Paul and this is News at 10. Major stories for you tonight. R1 million to provide legal aid for underprivileged Malaysians. And Malaysia's trade performance surpassed 1 trillion ringgit. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Semasa today announced an allocation of 1 million ringgit for the setting up of the Tan Sri Ahmad Ibrahim Foundation, which will provide legal services to the members of the Keluarga Malaysia who are unable to afford legal representation. The Premier said the foundation would take after the name of a highly respected legal figure and would be set up under the University Malaya Law Faculty Alumni Association in appreciation of his deeds and contribution.
Saya mendengar dan mengambil maklum hajat parfum untuk menubuhkan klinik bantuan guaman. Saya amat menyokong cadangan murni ini kerana ia senada dengan misi saya dan kerajaan untuk sentiasa membantu keluarga Malaysia yang memerlukan bantuan guaman.
Officiating the Golden Jubilee celebration of Faculty of Law today, the Prime Minister also announced the 500,000 ringgit startup fund to establish the Keluarga Malaysia Welfare Fund to assist Law Faculty graduates from B40 families. Apart from that, an allocation of another 500,000 ringgit was also announced for the redevelopment of the ASEAN Legal Information Portal through the rebranding of the ASEAN Law Guide. On the faculty's Golden Jubilee, Datuk Seri Semasa, who is also an alumnus, expressed pride over the faculty's achievement in producing law graduates who are now making a name for themselves in Malaysia's democracy system and contributing to the development of the nation. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister stressed that there was an immediate need for the country's laws to be transformed to keep up with changing times. Datuk Seri Semasa said the improvements are to ensure the well-being of Keluarga Malaysia. The Premier said the government has implemented significant law transformation, adding that he had instructed the Prime Minister's Department's Legal Affairs Division to study and review existing laws, including 147 deemed obsolete.
Sebagai contoh, teknologi digital hari ini semakin pesat membangun. Dalam konteks ini, undang-undang yang sedia ada tidak relevan dengan ledakan teknologi digital, bahkan agak terkebelakang dengan perubahan semasa. Sebagai contoh, akta sedia ada iaitu Akta Rumah Perjudian Terbuka 1953 misalnya, hanya melibatkan penguatkuasaan terhadap kegiatan judi di premis dan bukannya secara dalam talian.
The government, the Prime Minister said, has implemented several proactive measures in empowering the country's laws. Apart from the proposed bill on anti-party hopping and political funding, other proactive measures include the move to abolish the mandatory death sentence. The issue of suspended slaughtering approval granted by Malaysia for Thomas Foods International in Lobathal, Australia, will not affect the beef supply in the country, especially during the Aidil-Adha celebration. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Religious Affairs, Dato' Idris Ahmad said this is because of the high demand for live cattle to conduct sacrificial rituals for the festival. Dato' Idris said this when asked whether suspending the approval for the company's slaughterhouses to slaughter animals would affect the meat supply in the country during the Aidil-Adha period. He also said the ministry is still in the middle of investigating the company which allegedly failed to comply with Malaysia's halal standards and procedure requirements. Last month, the Department of Islamic Development Malaysia, JAKIM, decided to revoke the approval for slaughtering and stop operations at the abattoir until the investigation is completed. transit. The decision was reached following discussions with the Department of Veterinary Services as well as related Australian authorities. The 13-year-old girl with Down syndrome known as Bella appeared at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court today for identification proceedings in the trial of Rumah Bonda founder Siti Bainun Ahmad Razali. Deputy Public Prosecutor Nur Aziza Mohamad informed the court that apart from Bella, there were 5 other individuals aged between 3 and 17 also present in the court for the identification proceedings. Previously, the 6 individuals were under the care of Siti Bainun at the shelter home. They were identified by 3 witnesses, namely an assistant manager of a company, Zurianti Sudin, 39, a resident of Rumah Bonda, Yasmin Naha Mahmud, 19, and a legal research officer at a law firm, Suhana Zam, 40. Earlier, the court was temporarily adjourned to make way for the installation of a foldable screen to ensure that the children could not directly see Siti Bainun, who was seated in the dock. Defence lawyer Nur Aminatul Mardia Matnur objected to the use of the screen and said the defence wanted the children to look at Siti Bainun and the court to record their reaction upon seeing her. However, Sessions Court Judge Israelizam Sanusi overruled the objection on the grounds that it was just an identification process and the children were not being called to give statements. Siti Bainun, 30, has pleaded not guilty to 2 charges of neglecting and abusing Bella, to the point of causing the victim to suffer physical and emotional injuries under Section 31, Subsection 1, Subsection A of the Child Act 2001. The bodies of 2 Pondok Terusan Limbat students who were feared drowned while bathing in Sungai Machang Limbat near Pasir Tumbu yesterday evening were found this morning. Kota Baru District Police Chief ACP Muhammad Rosdi Daud said the victims, Muhammad Zul Hafiz Azman, 18, and Lukman Hakim Azman, 16, were found hugging each other at 8:40 a.m., some 20 meters from the location they were reported missing. In a statement, he said both of them were found floating about 10 minutes after the search and rescue operation resumed at 8:30 a.m. The victims' bodies were taken to the forensic unit of University Science Malaysia Hospital, Kubang Kerian, for further action. And more to come, Malaysia recorded 48.1 billion ringgit of net inflows in 2021. Stay tuned. Malaysia's trade performance in May 2022 remained resilient, recording the fastest growth since November 2021, with total trade surpassing 1 trillion ringgit in just 5 months. According to the Ministry of International Trade and Industry, trade, exports and imports registered the highest monthly value for May. Trade rose by 33.6% to 228.37 billion ringgit compared to May last year, the 16th straight month of double-digit growth. Exports increased by 30.5% to 120.49 billion ringgit, the 10th consecutive month of double-digit expansion, driven by higher demand for electrical and electronic products, petroleum products, palm oil and palm oil-based agricultural products. Imports grew by 37.3% to 107.88 billion ringgit, while the trade surplus contracted by 8.3% to 12.62 billion ringgit. From January to May 2022, trade exports, imports and trade surplus registered the highest value. Trade climbed by 25.1% to 1.085 trillion ringgit compared to the same period last year. Exports jumped by 23.5% to 592.97 billion ringgit, and import leaped by 27% to 491.85 billion ringgit. Trade surplus edged up by 9% to 101.12 billion ringgit. Foreign investments into Malaysia recorded net inflows of 48.1 billion ringgit in 2021 compared to 13.3 billion ringgit in the previous year, while investments abroad registered 19.7 billion ringgit versus 10.2 billion ringgit in 2020. The Department of Statistics Malaysia said as of the end of 2021, foreign direct investment (FDI) position registered a higher value of 788.8 billion ringgit. Chief Statistician Dato Sri Dr. Muhammad Uzair Mahidin said the economic activities were gradually recovering from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Based on the World Investment Report by the UN Conference on Trade and Development, FDI flows to developing countries in Asia rose by 19% to $619 billion in 2021. As such, he said the foreign investments into Malaysia last year rose to register 48.1 billion ringgit, the highest since 2016. Commenting further on the FDI performance by sector, Dato Sri Dr. Muhammad Uzair said the manufacturing sector expanded by 22.5 billion ringgit to record net inflows of 29.5 billion ringgit, which attributed to the largest flows in FDI. He added Asia region continued to be the top source of FDI in Malaysia for 2021, with net inflows of 22.5 billion ringgit, mostly from Singapore, Japan and South Korea, which amounted to 17 billion ringgit. The Ministry of Finance, MOF, plans to table the Fiscal Responsibility Act, FRA, in Parliament by the end of this year and will also include a medium-term revenue strategy and guiding principles on aspects such as a broader revenue base and statutory debt limits. Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz said a country must be strictly supervised and controlled financially so that it has sufficient resources to implement appropriate reform programs and meet the country's environmental, social and governance (ESG) agenda. In the 99th Laporan Kewangan Rakyat released today, he said since 2020, the Finance Ministry has focused on building socio-economic resilience so that the people and businesses can bounce back stronger than before, should a crisis like COVID-19 or more serious ones come to the fore in the future. He added the ministry is guided by three main principles, namely responsiveness, accountability and reform, to build the foundation for long-term reforms. He said various policies are based on the principles of ESG as well as the consideration of the Sustainable Development Goals. According to him, ESG-based reforms are capable of building long-term socio-economic resilience, and this is the best defense against future shocks and pandemics. The Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development will work with the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industry (MAFI) through a project to plant vegetables through hydroponics and microgreen farming, specifically for women. Its Minister, Datuk Sri Rina Muhammad Harun, said the project was means for them to supplement their income. She said discussions and research on the matter were conducted from time to time to empower women in entrepreneurship through various programs and incentives, as well as training organized by government and private agencies.
Kepakaran dan juga ialah peruntukan sebagainya dia letak di kementerian-kementerian tertentu. Ya, dia macam ni Kementerian Asas Tani MAFI, Kementerian Asas Tani dan Industri Makanan yang membantu mereka. Jadi kita sebagai Kementerian Wanita nak menggalak sebab ramai juga yang apabila ada isu dan sebagainya dia datang kepada kementerian kita. Ya, mereka ni mempunyai masalah rumah tangga, mereka ni mempunyai masalah nak cari pendapatan, diberhentikan kerja. Ya, jadi daripada sini kita salurkan kepada dan kita temukan mereka dengan kementerian-kementerian yang tertentu untuk membantu.
She was met after visiting the Kemubu Agriculture Development Authority, KADAS, hydroponic planting project in Bacho. Datuk Sri Rina said the ministry had also implemented various women empowerment programs in collaboration with over 20 ministries and agencies, such as the Successful Women Program and the Teman Nita program with Tekun Nasional. The Malaysia External Trade Development Corporation (MATRADE) aims to achieve sales of 1.9 billion ringgit during the 18 Malaysia International Halal Showcase or MIHAS from 7th to 10th September. MATRADE Chief Executive Officer Datuk Muhammad Mustafa Abdul Aziz said the inaugural virtual MIHAS 2021 resulted in an impressive 2.13 billion ringgit in sales from both the exhibition and business meeting components, which were held for 3 months. This year's MIHAS will be held in a hybrid edition and will showcase a total of 1,196 booths, representing 13 leading clusters.
We don't want to be too ambitious, but we are very confident that we'll be able to get that 1.9 billion, inshallah. For this year, all the exhibitors are given the opportunity also to showcase the products virtually on digital platform for 3 days. Yeah, so hybrid.
MATRADE has added Islamic arts and culture as MIHAS 2022's 13 cluster, complementing existing clusters comprising pharmaceutical, Islamic finance, modest fashion, media and recreation, cosmetics and personal care, food technology, franchise, Muslim-friendly travel, services and enablers, education and e-commerce. He added the MIHAS Awards is also organized this year to acknowledge innovative and sustainable excellence showcased by local and foreign halal brands. Organized by MATRADE under the patronage of the Ministry of International Trade and Industry, this year's MIHAS theme, Diversifying Halal Possibilities, aims to be a gateway into the global halal ecosystem. The National Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Malaysia hopes that Malaysia will be able to attract more investments from the United Arab Emirates in high-tech manufacturing, projects and emerging industries while aggressively promoting and exporting local products. Its President Tan Sri Lau Kian Chuan said with the current trade deficit with the UAE, Malaysian businesses need to aggressively go out to the market and export more products to the UAE. Explaining further, he said there are many potential export markets including food security, smart manufacturing, digital economy, artificial intelligence, aerospace industry, halal industry and renewable energy. On food security, Tan Sri Lau said local investors should actively involve themselves in the agricultural sector to increase food production while conducting export activities. He further explained that food security is now a priority not only in the country but also globally.
I think that's for Malaysia. Actually, we are more to do with our food security, honor farming, but we must treat agricultural produce is not only to help the poor. Actually, it's a business. It's that it can enable Malaysia to grow and become the export earner.
According to Tan Sri Lau, the UAE has been the largest trading partner for the West Asian region, and there is plenty of room for expansion, as the country is rich in resources. After 2 years of hiatus due to COVID-19 pandemic, the 2022 Institutions of Higher Learning Games (SUKIP) is set to return from 12 to 21st August at University Pendidikan Sultan Idris UPSI. Higher Education Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Noraini Ahmad said over 6,000 athletes representing 70 contingents would be at UPSI to battle it out for the 210 gold medals offered. The minister said MOHE has agreed to provide several new incentives, namely 3,000 cash prize for SUKIP sportsmen and sportswomen.
Pertamanya, olahragawan dan olahrawati SUKIP 2022 bakal menerima wang tunai sebanyak RM3,000 setiap seorang. Yang kedua, pasukan terbaik lelaki dan perempuan ataupun wanita SUKIP masing-masing akan menerima wang tunai sebanyak RM7,000. Sebab yang ketiga ini adalah pemain yang berjaya melakukan hole-in-one bagi sukan golf pula ditawarkan wang tunai sebanyak RM1,000. Saya juga nak maklumkan kat sini juga. Wang tunai berjumlah RM20,000, RM20,000 akan diberikan secara bersama kepada atlet yang berjaya memecahkan rekod kebangsaan di kejohanan ini.
She added, although the 2022 edition does not involve the participation of IPTs from Southeast Asian countries like before, she is still confident that the performance shown by all athletes could place Sukip as one of the largest and high-standard sports events on par with other tournaments such as Malaysia Games. She said this during her speech when opening Sukip 2022 at UPSI's Sultan Azlan Shah campus in Tanjung Malim, Perak. Wrapping up news at 10 with a reminder of our top story. Government announces 1 million ringgit of allocation to set up Legal Services Foundation for underprivileged groups. Do catch us again tomorrow afternoon on TV2 for more updates. You can also stream it online on RTM Clicks, mobile and online platforms. Till next time, it's Lights Out. I'm Brendan Paul. Have an awesome weekend and stay safe.